Mr. Babatunde, please, can you please mute your mic? Please, let's join the ongoing training. We have started on the Google Meets. So I'm calling us here right now on the group so that we can all join the ongoing training. This is just a prompt for us. Thank you very much. Okay, so good evening, everybody, once again, and I welcome us all to this CV writing training, professional CV writing. Um, Let me just briefly talk about Rivertus Career. Rivertus Career is a group that has come to, train young people. Is a non-for-profit initiative that has gone to train professionals and young people career-wise, give them information and knowledge on what they ought to know. So every month we organize webinars, just like this one we are having. We started off, that was August 2023, and since then we've been having monthly training for all professionals and everyone seeking to grow in their several career field. So this training we are having today is one of those. Though we've had this before, but because there was no recorded version, we are having it again. So, but after this training, we're going to be having the recorded version on. We're going to have it on our YouTube channel, which we can always watch and rewatch again and again. Then after this training, we're going to share a CV sample to the group, to the WhatsApp group that we all belong to. So if any one of us doesn't belong to the WhatsApp group, if we are not there yet, please just before the end of the training, you can just put it on the group chat so that we'll add you there. Thank you very much. So we start professional CV writing. Now the aims and objectives of this training is to recognize the importance of writing a good CV, recognize the importance of proofreading for spelling, punctuation, grammar, and meaning. Then also for us to be able to proofread a bad CV, just by saying after this training, even if you are not a CV writer, you don't do it professionally, just by seeing a CV, you'll be able to know that no, this CV is not a good one. This is it shouldn't be this way. So, and also for us to be able to identify our skills and personal qualities, then to draft and type up our own CV. You know that we know that there are people, we do that as well, that um, optimize CV for people, for a fee. But the fact is that this thing is not far-fetched. It's what everyone can do by his or herself. It's not far-fetched. If we are able to follow through to this training, you'll be able to sit down by yourself and come up with your own CV that it will look so professional, like as if an expert drafts it for you. So please just be attentive as we move forward in this training session. Now, if there is any question, please just note it so that after the training, you can ask your questions. Now, resume versus CV. What's the difference? I'm sure a lot of us, we hear resume, we hear CV, we use it interchangeably every time. What is resume? What is CV? Some of us, we do think, okay, it's the same thing. Resume is CV, CV is resume. But a lot of us don't know that they are actually different in some little ways. Though it can be used for the same purpose. It's used for the same purpose, but it's different. Now we're going to be talking about the difference between CV and resume here. For CV, we have the length. The length is typically 1 or more pages, like 2 or more pages rather, for CV. And then for resume, we have 1 page, maximum of 2 sometimes. For resume is typically like 1 page, then sometimes 2. That's the max of what a resume can be. But as for a CV, it can be more than 2 pages because it's more detailed, and the purpose is it detail all the academic and professional history of the person in concern. But for resume, it's just a summary of the skills, of the experience, and the qualifications. So that is resume. And the content is also different. For CV, it includes the education, the work history, the publications, the research, awards, and other academic achievements. Now for resume, it's center based. It focuses on relevant work experience, the skills and accomplishments. It's just brief of it. Now, for the focus of CV is it's comprehensive and detailed. Comprehensive, that is where you list in full all your detail, all your skills, all your experiences in detail. But for resume, it is concise to the point. It is concise and to the point. It is very brief. Then also the customization of CV and resume. Generally, it's the same, just with some minor updates on CV. Then for resume, it is tailored for each specific job application. If you're applying for so and so job, you have to tailor it to that job you're applying for. You're applying for customer service job, you tailor it to it. But for CV, it is usually the same. There is usually no much differences. You can use it for different different stuffs, different applications. Then for the usage, CV is used mostly in academia, research, education, and international job applications. But resume is used for most job applications like public sector, private sector, non-for-profit organizations, and big or small industries and the likes. So that's what resume is for. But the fact is that both is being used interchangeably. So we can say, okay, resume, you can say CV. If we have more than 2 pages, more than 2 pages, that means we are having a CV. But if you're talking about a resume, it should be very brief, like 1 page, it should just be a summary. So you can also say CV is a summary of resume is a summary of a CV. So now, what is a CV? CV is curriculum vitae A. CV stands for curriculum vitae A and is a Latin word. It means course of life. Now, though I don't know if that is relatable to us. If we say CV is course of life, it is Latin, curriculum vitae A, but the English meaning is course of life. So what does that mean to you? It means that your CV is the course of your life. Your CV states the course, the trend of your life. Your CV states what you have been doing in life. So that is CV. So we can say it is course of life. The course of my life is my CV. So a CV is a document that shows who you are and what you have done with your life so far. Your education, your training, your work experience, your skills, and others, which we are going to be looking at. So every course of your life from beginning till dates, you have to add up. You have to add it up to your CV in a way that somebody who is not seeing you after reading through the CV knows who you are. So that is one of the reasons why our CV has to represent who we really are. It has to, and not just represent who we really are, it has to say good of us. So because your CV is the cause of your life. So anyone picking up your CV, just at a glance, should be able to know that this is how this person's life has been. Career-wise, this is how the life has been. Education-wise, this is how it has been. The skill he has, this is how it has been. So that is what a CV means. I hope we are following. Are we together, please? Just to be sure that I'm not speaking to myself. Can we all hear me?
We are with you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, um, your CV is all about you. Your CV is you. You are your CV. Your CV is you, and you are your CV. Now, I do say something that when it gets to CV, all of us are marketers. Everyone is marketer. You are a marketer, I'm a marketer. When it gets to CV, forget that they say there are some roles that just some people they are marketers. You know, we have some roles that some business managers role, some business officers role that they are marketers. But some people will say, I don't like marketing. No, I can't market you. See, when it gets to CV, you have to market yourself. One thing that you should get to know is that when it gets to my CV, I'm marketing myself. And I'm marketing myself to people who don't know me, who are not seeing me face to face. So that means I have to put myself, I have to represent myself well in what I'm putting down. So that by the time I push it out, wherever it goes to, where your legs cannot reach, your CV is getting there. So by the time I push it out to whoever is going to, by the time they see it, they will be able to know what I stand for. They will be able to, get attracted to me. So you are marketing yourself in your CV so that you can you can get attracted to the person that is looking at it, just for the purpose it is intended for. So now your CV outlines your qualifications, your employment, your work experience, your strengths, your achievements, your projects, your, you know, whatever good about you, not whatever bad. So I say not whatever about you, not anything about. That's why I say whatever good about you, whatever good. So your CV should outline everything. Then it is also often the first document that an employer will see. It is the first document that an employer will see. That is why, they say first impressions last longer or forever. Which one, anyone you want to use? Your CV is the first impression that the employer, the recruiter is having about you. Oftentimes, we just see some CV, we see how disarranged, how unorganized some CVs are. By looking at that CV, sometimes I just think that this person is not organized. This person is not coupled. So imagine if it is a role that it requires organization, it requires the skills that is required is organizational skill. It's also required in that role. Of course, I wouldn't go for somebody that the CV is not well aligned, that the CV looks scattered and scattered. Just because the first impression that CV gives to me is that this person is not organized. So me as a recruiter, it will be very difficult for me to now say, I want to go ahead with shortlisting the person. It's even easier now because now there is something we call ATS, applicants tracking system. So that ATS automatically, by the time you all submit CV. There are maybe thousands of CV submissions, thousands of applicants submitting their CVs. The ATS just automatically screen out the ones that are not aligned with the need of the organization. And by the time the CV is not well aligned, is not put together, well put together, automatically the ATS will just screen it out. And it is very, very likely, very, very possible that that person is actually qualified for the job. But just because what is required on the CV is not there, or just because the CV is not well aligned, or because the CV is not organized, automatically it's screened out. So know that the the organization of your CV, how it is being put, it can mar or make an application. So that is why your CV has to be well put together. Remember what I said, your CV is all about you. The CV is representing who you are, is saying who you are. So if you want the employer, the recruiter to look at you as somebody that is organized, then your CV has to be organized. If you want your recruiter, if you want the recruiter to look at you as somebody that to look at you like somebody that is experienced, that is good, that is well put together, that have a tab on whatever he or she is doing, you will be able to put your CV together as well in the like manner. So also your CV should be a fluid document, one that should be constantly evolving and enhanced. Your CV should be a fluid document. It should not be a solid document that is rigid. A solid document that is rigid in the sense that a CV that you cannot change. A CV that is rigid, is frozen. Like what I mean is that you use the same CV that you have to apply for a customer service role. You use the same CV to apply for a business development manager role. You use the same CV to apply for an HR role. You use the same CV to apply for, So your CV should be a fluid document. That's what I mean by that. It should be one that you will be able to, use. You'll be able to change, for every role. You should suit it according to the role you're applying for. And now there is an adage that says you never get a second chance to make a first impression. First impression lasts forever. Some say now they are changing it that it lasts longer. It is first impression. There is no second chance of changing that first impression. So, and it's never true that when you submit, that is also not as true as when you submit your CV. It is never truer. So when you submit your CV, it's your first impression. Now, because this is likely the first glimpse of you that employers will get, you have to make it an impressive one, impressive, excellent one. That just at first sight, there is this love that attached to you. It has happened to me before, actually. I was recruiting for a particular role, and I saw somebody's CV. The CV was so catchy that I had to save it specially. I saved the CV specially. I love the font. I love the organization. I love the creativity of the candidates. That alone made me to shortlist him. I just automatically, it attracted my attention. It caught my attention. I just shortlisted the person. So your CV should be an impressive one. It should be very attractive. Then a great resume can open a door, but an inferior one can just as quickly close one. I hope we get that right. A great resume, just like I've said now, can open a door. The CV I said caught my attention. It opened a particular door. It caught my attention, then automatically I saved it and attached it and added it to the already shortlisted CVs. Even if at the long run, the person didn't qualify. But the fact that the CV caught my attention, after reading through, the person was shortlisted, at least for the first stage. So a great resume can open a door, but an inferior one can just as quickly close the door. Now, these are what we are going to the practical section now. These are what we include in your CV. The essential information that is needed to be on CV. Apologies, my voice is cracking because of the stress I went through a bit. Now, these are what we include in your CV. we have essential information, we have the personal details, we have the personal profile, we have the employment history, the work experience, the education, the skills and training, the interests and achievements, and the references. These are going to be broken down more as we proceed in the training. Now, personal details is the same thing as your CV heading. Personal details is same thing as your CV heading. We have the name. We can see the example there. We have the name. The page title is the same thing as the name. Then the fonts should be between the 20 to 22 fonts, though it can also be changed. It can also be changed. Sorry, we have somebody raising up the hand. Is there any issue, please?
No, ma.
Okay, okay. All right. So the name should be large. It should be the largest in your CV. So it should just be like a heading. It's just like a page title. So it should be large. The font should be between 22 to 20, 20 to 22 font. But this is not rigid, like I said. You can also change it. By the time you see the other bodies, by the time you see the fonts the other bodies carry, you can walk around the font size. But invariably, it should be between 20 to 22. It should be bold as well, just like the example we are having here. Then it should contain your email and your phone number. That should be 12 fonts. The other things should be the same font, aside the name alone that is going to be having the larger fonts and the bolder fonts. The other fonts can be 12, font 12. Font 12 is usually the normal fonts, the normal corporate standard fonts. So font 12, then there's no need to write email. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Like, as we have email, I will now write email, then semicolon, christiade@yahoo.co.uk. No, you don't need to put email. Just go straight to the point and add whatever you need to add to it. Then phone, you don't need to put telephone. Just write your phone number. And the only thing is, if you have different phone, maybe you have mobile, you have home phone, you have cell phone, you can just separate it. Work phone, you can put work, dot, semicolon, then put the number, then mobile, semicolon, put the number. That's if you're having different cell phone, for different purposes, so that they will know the one to call at the different times. The reason why I say we should separate that is that, work phone is expected that work phone between the hours of 8 and 5, work phone should be functioning, because 8 and 5, I use 8 and 5 because that is standard work time for almost everyone. So between the hours of 8 and 5, work phone will be available. So if you have a home phone, it is expected that home phone will be available between after 5, So that is why you have to, if you have different phones for different purposes, you have to state it there. Work phone, home phone. It has to be included so that if at all they are reaching out to you, they will know they want to reach out to at each specific time. So also, your address has to be clear, has to be compact and clear. It has to be easy to read, and if possible, just break it down. Not to be too broken down actually, but it has to also carry with your location. Don't just write 12 Main Road, Ikoyi. Some people wouldn't know where Ikoyi is. You have to put the state, you have to put the city. So just make sure the city is captured, make sure the state is captured. Don't just put number 1, Orire Road, number 1, Festac Way, and just think you have a complete address. It has to carry your state. It has to carry your location. But there is some working around the CV that a lot of people do now. You don't include your address. Sometimes you may not include your address. Sometimes. That is because there are some jobs that it is a particular location. Maybe there is a job advertised for Lagos State and you are in Oyo State. By the time you put Oyo State address, I'm sorry, you might be screened out just for that purpose. So if you know that you are willing to relocate to that particular state that the job is posted, that the vacancy is, and you know that your present place is another state, then don't put your address on your CV. It is not bad. Don't put it on your CV so that you won't be screened out automatically. Don't put it on your CV. So, but if it's not that, make sure you add your address on your CV. Also, I expect that every one of us should have a LinkedIn profile. It's very, very important. Have a LinkedIn profile. Add, if you have one, add your URL, your LinkedIn URL to it, just like I've done here. The example that we are seeing here. Make sure that you add your LinkedIn profile as well, if you have one. You should not, in any case, not have a LinkedIn profile. So every one of us should have one LinkedIn profile. If you don't have it, please rush to LinkedIn after this training and create one for yourself. It's very, very important. I've gotten job offers from LinkedIn. My present organization now, it came from LinkedIn. I do emphasize it in all my training that ensure that you have a LinkedIn profile. Okay. Now, there's a tip here. Make sure your email address is appropriate. What I mean by this is there are some of us that our email address we have beautyforreal@gmail.com, sexyade@gmail.com. That is not appropriate. That is not professional. It is not professional. It is not appropriate. So ensure that your email address is appropriate. Let it be your first name and your last name, if possible. Then you can just abbreviate it. You can just reduce it in a way. So make sure that your email address is appropriate. Now we are going to the next one, which is personal profile. We have the objective statement. Now, for personal profile, it can be in two ways. It can be in two ways. For the personal profile, we can have the objective statement and we can have the profile summary. Objective statement and a profile summary. Most times, the objective statement is usually used by those that are just starting their experience. Those that are just working, they're just starting their work experience and all. No experience at all, just starting. So they use objective statements. But for the experience, they use profile summary. So you have to know what to use at every point in time. Now, for objective statements, it is usually brief but specific. It is a specific statement outlining your career, your aims, and the type of employment that you're seeking for. It also introduces yourself to the employer. So your objective statements, just by the employer looking at your CV, it's supposed to, your recruiter rather, the person you are, that you're sending the CV to, by just looking at the CV, the objectives alone should state what you are for. It should be like between 1 to 3 sentences maximum. Then it should include very few pronouns like my, you know, my aim is to do this. My aim is to work in an organization that's that is vast, and my aim is to contribute my own quota to the, blah, 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 like that. So we can use that in our objective statements. Now, these are examples of a good objective statement. Seeking a quality small animal internship where mentorship is at the forefront in order to strengthen my clinical and communication skills while also serving as an asset to clients, patients, and the practice. So our objective statement it should be personal. It should be personal. So this is another example here. Let's proceed. We have the personal profile as well. I said it earlier, it can either be objective statement or profile summary. We have the profile statement, the profile, or the summary. This includes the detailed strengths, experiences, interests, and skills that one has to offer the employer. It can also be called profile, summary, or professional summary altogether. It gives you an overview and detail of who you are. It gives the recruiter an overview of who you are and what you have to offer. Do you know that um, the profile summary, the professional summary of a candidate alone, sometimes is enough to also get one attracted to a candidate? You know, you have a well-crafted profile summary. Unless I forget, let me just chip this in. You know that right now we are having AI. We are in the era of AI, era of technology, and we have AI here and there, here and there. Please try as much as possible to avoid copying and pasting from AI, because there are AI detecting machine. We have AI detectors. So, and it's also a test from employers, from recruiters, to see if this person can actually think on his or her own. So try as much as possible not to go. It's okay. AI is supposed to be an aid. It's supposed to be an help, you know, assistance. But don't solely depend on it, that you have to now copy and paste everything there verbatim, word for word. You have to ensure that even if you are using AI, ChatGPT or whatever for guide, make sure that you also have your own details. Make sure you edit and don't let it be easily detected, because once a recruiter detects that this person just copy and paste, it also shows that you don't have a mind of your own, that you can't do things on your own. You are solely dependent on AI. So that gives you out. So profile statements should also make the reader want to learn more about you. Once I read your profile statement, I want to, oh, wow, this is fantastic. It will, you know, push me to want to go through your CV the more and know more about you. Now, your CV should be tailored for the job you're applying for. Your profile statement should also be tailored to the job you're applying for. Don't use the same profile statement for customer service, for HR role, or for business development role. It has to be different. It has to be different. Your CV should be tailored for the job you're applying for. It should match your skills, your experience, the requirements of the job. Your profile statement should be, this is an example, a goal-oriented DVM student with broad experiences in small animal medicine. We can read it. I'm sure we can read it. Exotics and shelter medicine, fluent in Spanish, you know, and traveled abroad to conduct research. Keen insight into managing client relationships, willing to work a flexible schedule, and open to relocation. So these are examples of profile statements. We have the employment history and work experience. That's the next segment. Then you have to add your company, your job title, your dates, duties, and responsibilities. This employment history should showcase your skills. What do you do? You know, what you observe, what you assist with. You should showcase that in your history, in your work experience. Then do you have any volunteer or internship experience? You should also have it added. Don't separate it, don't remove it. It should be added. You don't have to separate it from your experience. It should be added. So far, you know that you are actually genuinely, you know, volunteering, or you have once volunteered. You have to add it up to your experience. Then list all of your jobs. Do you list all of your jobs? Yes, the answer is yes. To showcase your work ethic, you have to put it all. Although, if at a point in your career, by the time you have so much work experiences, you can add up, you can detail the one that is related to that particular job you're applying for. Then the one that is not related to that job you're applying for, what you just have to do is to just briefly state it. You won't let that one be detailed. You will see it in the CV you're going to be sharing after the training. You will see it there. You just put it like a line, put a date. The reason why you have to add it is because if you don't add it, it will show you employment gaps. And you're not supposed to be having employment gap in your CV, because the employment gap can put you out also. The recruiter can look at it that, okay, the reason why you're having employment gap is probably because that time nobody is employing you, you're out of job. And they are looking at it that if really you are good, as said, you should not be out of job. So ensure that you don't have employment gap in your CV. But if at all you have, it's possible that you have. If at all you have, it should be explainable. You should be able to explain it. Maybe in the other parts, the reason why you're out of job, you can, by the time they look at, you know, 2013, you are out of job. Then the next time you were in the job is 2015. Between that 2013 and 2015, maybe there should be a skill that you acquire between that time, or an education that is between that 2013 to 2015. That alone will now make it know that, oh, this person was out of job this time. We didn't have a work experience because he's having this training or he's having this education. So that was why he was out of job for that period. So make sure that there should be an explanation for your employment gap also added to your CV. Explain the skills you used in your job role. Your skills should also be added to your experience. Now, these are how to put in your work experience. It should be in reverse chronological order. Chronological order is when you have like A, B, you have like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That is chronological order. So your CV should be the most recent. You should list the experience with the most recent first within each category and heading. So also make sure you use action words. Now, the action words you are using for present and past tense. For past job, make sure you use past tense. For present job, use present tense. For past job, I worked, let it be past tense. Don't let it be present tense. Let it be past tense. Don't let it be, apologies, please, for the distraction. We have children around, so yeah. I beg your pardon, please. So past jobs should be past tense. Present job should be present tense. Please, let's take note of that. We are going to see the examples. We're going to see the example. Then your practices, the organization should be bold. Often titles are fairly similar. The titles can be similar. So if you have interesting titles, then you might switch and have your titles bold for it to stand out. The titles, just like business development manager, just like head of human resources, those are the titles. So you should be bold. Then the city and the states where the job is located should also be written. It should be stated there. Then you should also include the dates that you were in the employment. If it is 2013 to 2015, if you don't just write 2013 to 2015. It can be January 2013 to March 2015. It should include dates, it should include months and year. Date is not important, but the month and year should be included in the dates. So when you have the employment, maybe you have ABC Limited. That ABC Limited, beneath it, you must have the title of the job you were doing as at that time. And after the title, you should have the dates of employment the dates in between when you were in that employment. You should also make sure you list it. Then the states that the job is located should also be listed. The next one is your education, your skills, and your training. You should add your course title. You should add the dates. You should add the results and the grade. Now, if your results or your grade is not so fantastic, don't add it. You can add 2-1. You can add first class. That alone, should sell you out. That we should be attractive enough. But if you have any grade that is lesser than 2-1 or first class, don't add it there. So you can put second class, but don't put second class lower. Don't put second class higher. Just put second class, except you have a 2-1 or a first class that you can brag of. Because a lot of recruiters, they just look at that 2-1, that first class, and they get attracted to it. So by the time you put second class lower, and we have other people that are second class, higher, upper second class than first class. That would make them to get shortlisted first before you. So it's better you don't add it if you don't have the 2-1 or a first class. Don't add it there. Then also start with your most recent education. Start with your most recent education. Include details of the school you went to. Include the qualifications that you have achieved in that school, the grade that you attained, and the date of attainment of the grade. Then you also have to add your relevant trainings only, the ones relevant to the job you're applying for. Don't put that you did a cooking training, cooking skill. You added the cooking skill to your skill. Then meanwhile, what you're actually applying for is a fine arts, um, a graphics design job, employment. So only add relevant trainings and relevant skills to your CV. Add soft skills, languages, and technical skills. If you can speak more than one language, please add it there, because it is also a plus to you. If you can speak French, you can speak Spanish, add it there. So you can also put the qualifications that you are studying for. If you have an ongoing training, an ongoing education, ongoing skill that you are acquiring, add it. Add it there. You can input your predicted grade. If you know where you're going to come out with, you can input it as well. Then the date you expect to round off that training or education, you can also put it there. So we also have strong communication skills. Part of the skills is strong communication skills. Like I was saying the other time, the organizational skills is key. Organizational skills, we have presentation skills, we have communication skills. Now, strong communication skills, everyone is expected to have it. There is no organization that would want to have somebody that will not be able to communicate clearly, you know. So everyone has to have a strong communication skill. Add it there. If you don't have it, learn it and add it. You should be able to convey information and share ideas in a timely and professional manner. So this skill has been essential when communicating with customers, also during my retail positions. It is very, very important. Very, very important. So we can put it like that in this regard. Strong communication skills, I'm able to convey information and share ideas, like that. Just add it. Then we have IT skills as well. We have MS Office, use of Excel, Word. I'm going to say this. In this era and season that we are, there should be no one that is not able to make use of MS Office packages. Most especially 3 of them. This Excel, this Word and PowerPoint. We have other ones. We have Access, we have Publisher, we have other ones. But these 3, it is something that it is mainly used now in our day-to-day work, work days. So you must be able to know Excel, you must be able to know Word, you must be able to operate PowerPoint. It should not be heard that you are not able to use any of this. Because most times, employers, they usually require these 3 skills. Yeah, come. I think somebody has hijacked someone has hijacked our screen. Sorry. Can we see the screen now, please?
Yes, please.
All right, thank you. All right, so education, IT skills, as I was saying, there should be no one at this level, at this age, at this era, at this world that we are now, that should not be able to make effective use of Microsoft Office, that's Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. At least Excel and Word, you must be able to make use of it very well. So also confident with social media platforms, Twitter and Instagram. Then I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this as well. Please make sure that your social media platforms put you in a very good picture. Because now we recruiters go extra mile to to check the background of the candidates even before calling them for interview. After the shortlisting of the CV, most times, sometimes, some people, especially when we have a lot of people that tends to qualify at the same time, and we are in that fix of knowing who to go for. Sometimes the recruiters go extra mile to check your social media pages, your Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, TikTok, what have you, everything. So if you are somebody that just talks, that just say different things that is not even polite, that is not good on your social media pages, please make sure that you desist from it and delete whatever it is that is not right from your social media pages, so that it won't mar your applications. Please make sure you do that. Make sure you present your social media pages in a professional manner as well. It doesn't mean that you don't have to be free. Be free with whatever you do, you know, be interactive, be free, but make sure that you don't put something that will mar your applications. So we are in the section of interests and achievements. You can list a few interests, some things that interest you. You can list them. What interests you also says who you are. It gives you more, what gives you more of a personal feel. Just put it there. Put it there. Because it shows you have interest outside of your career focus. It shows that you can do other things. Like, for example, this job that I put here, showing that you are a lover of golf. It's also presents you to be somebody that is critical in thinking, somebody that has critical thinking ability, you know. So then you can add your hobbies, your interests, your achievements. You can add the clubs and societies that you belong to. If you like politics, put it there. If you're a politician, put it. Although that for that politics, it can. You have to know when to put some things and when not to put some things, depending on the job you're applying for. That is why I said earlier that tailor your CV accordingly to the job you're applying for. There are some jobs you don't put that you love politics, so depending on what you are applying for, because uh, um, um, it can also make the employer to make a decision not to go ahead with your CV. So if you like technology, you like fashion, put it there as your interest. Then also try to avoid putting in ambiguous and inexplainable interests. What do I mean by that? Some interests that you know that you won't be able to explain. Like, for example, you put reading as one of your interests. I love reading. And by the time you are now being called for interview, the interviewer now said, "Can you please put me through one of the books you have read in this year?" And you're not able to say anything. That's because you have not read any. So just put it there that you love reading. Meanwhile, you have not even read even page, one page of a book from January till date. So don't put some things that you are not able to explain. If you say that you love fashion, you should be able to you should be able to explain it by the time it gets to that point. Because there's an interview that is very interactive. Some interview is out of focus area. Some interview, we are going to still have a training on interview. Some interview will not even talk about your experience or your achievements. They won't talk about your education, your experience. They will go outside of your experience, and just because they want to know who you are, they want to be able to know if you like, they want to know how flexible you are, they want to know how relatable you are. So make sure that you don't put ambiguous and inexplainable interests and hobbies in your CV. They'll also make them specific and interesting. Now, references, we are close to rounding up. References, this can be personal or work related. Then you can state references available upon request. For reference, I do say that is, we are in Nigeria, but for uh, You don't need to add it there. So you don't need to add your request if it is your reference, if it is not stated that you need the reference to be added. Sorry, please. So you should also be help people. You should be able to supply 3 to 4 qualified people. Ask them first before you add them as references. Don't just put people that you know they will not be able to, because the reference can be sent, references can be sent anytime. It can be before you are even called for interview and they send out the reference. So make sure that anybody you're adding to your reference, that is if you are adding reference, make sure that you um make sure that seek the you seek the mind of the people first, that you seek their consent first before adding them as reference. But if it is not something that is requested, that is required from the job order, from the job vacancies, you don't need to add it from the start. So that is that about that. Now, this is how your CV should look like. A typical CV should look like this. We have the header. We spoke about the header the other time. We have the header. Sorry, are we together, please? Hello?
Yes, we are together.
Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
All right.
Yes, yes,
All right. All right. Thank you. We have the header that we spoke about here. We have that. Then your name at the top. We have explained this before. Then we have the personal profile. This person use the personal profile, not the objective, not the career objective. Use personal profile here. Then after that, went straight to the education. Then after that, to the employment history. Let me say this, lest I forgot. There are some applications that we say, let your CV be in so and so order. You have to follow the order that they are requesting for. That is why when you have a job vacancy, make sure that you read through every requirement and everything that is being stated before applying for the job. Some will say include references in your CV. Some will say your CV and your cover letter should be on the same document. Some will say your CV should not be more than 2 pages. So if your CV is now more than 2 pages, you now have to find a way to bring it to 2 pages for you to be able to suit the need of that recruiter as at the time. So now we have the education, we have the employment history. You see how it is? Employment history. The employment history has the name of the organization. It has the title, job title. It has the year. It has the year. Then it has the job role of the person included. We can see it. Then the skills, the profile, say strong communication skills and all, the achievements, the positions of responsibility, the interests, and the references available upon request. So this is how it should be. Everything should be clearly defined, then it should be concise. Now, when presenting your CV, you're rounding up. When presenting your CV, we have 1 to 2 pages, ideally 2 pages. Try and fill the page. Avoid large areas of blank space. Use columns instead of long lists. Columns, use bullets, use columns. If you can't fill 2 pages, reduce to 1. Columns, don't just merge it together. Don't just lump it together. Let there be a separator. Let there be columns. Let there be bullets. Can make use of bullets. Then for the ordering, add the most important info on the front page. The info that you know is top most important. Add it to the front page. That's if you have like 2 pages, 3 pages of CV. Let the front page include the most important details, like the work experience. should be in the front. It should not be taken to the back. Let it be in the front. Your skills also can be in the front. Your work experience can start from the front and overflow to the back page, but let it also be from the front. Then you have to be consistent. Consistency is key. Your font type, your size, your line spacing, your language should be consistent. Don't use area for your personal summary, your professional summary, and now use Calibri for your education, and now use Times New Roman for your skills. Make sure that you are constant and consistent with the font type and size that you're using. We spoke about it the other time. The only font size that should be different, the only font size that should be different is that of your name. That is the heading. Your name should be the only font type that should be different, the font size. Then, if at all, some other places will be different. Maybe that place of your work experience that states your job title, the organization you work with. But if it is different from the other body, that's from your job role, if it is different, if you are listing 2 or 3 work experiences, then the font size that you're using for the title, it should be for the first row, it should be the same as the second row, it should be the same as the third work experience as well. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. If you don't understand, just let me know, please. If at all your size, some of or your other font size will be different, it should be that highlights the company than your job title. That's under your experience. Then the difference should not be too much, it should not be too big. And if it is different from your job description, your job role, then and you have more than one experience, maybe 2 or 3 experiences, the experiences you have under that title, the one you use for the first experience should be the same thing you will use for the second experience and the third experience. It should not be different. So you have to be consistent in your size. Then the line spacing is also key. Don't lump your CV together. Let it be easy to read. Let it be interesting to read. Let it be easy to read. Then your formatting, if you have emphasis, like maybe italics, bold, let it also be consistent. Your formatting, emphasize on text, your headings, then use professional alignments. Use tabs. Control J, justify your pages. Don't just let it be slanting. Don't let it be anyhow. Justify it. After you finish writing your CV, you can just copy all, Control A, then Control J, justify them. Align it all. Let it be well aligned. Then show off your word skills. I said earlier that every employer now, they expect that you should be able to make use of your Word, of Microsoft Word. So if your CV is anyhow, it's already put you out that you are not able to use Microsoft Word very well. So let your formatting be consistent and clear. Then these are other top tips when tailoring your CV. Tailor your CV to the type of job that you're applying for. I said the other time that make sure you tailor your CV. Don't use the same CV for every job applications. Let it be different. Let it be different. So, and when tailoring your CV, your personal profile must be different. These are the things that you are going to change. For example, if you're applying for a customer service role now, and tomorrow you want to apply for a human resource role, just for example, I'm just citing that for example. That is the roles that can come to my head right now. That's why I'm using that as example. Though you have to have the skills, Don't just apply, don't lie. We'll get there. Don't lie on your CV. So tailor your CV. Your personal profile has to change. If the personal profile that you use for customer service, it shouldn't be the same that you will use for HR role. It has to be, you have to change it. These are the things you will change when you are tailoring your CV, when you're editing your CV. Your skills also has to change. because the skill that is required for customer service is not the same required for an HR. Though some are interrelated, there are some skills that you have to have. Communication skills now, it is obviously is required for all job roles now. So your job role responsibility should also be different. It should be different. Your job responsibility, edit it as well. The projects you have embarked upon, your achievements as well. I forgot to add it here. Your achievements should also be tailored to the job you're applying for. Then your interest area should also be tailored to the job that you're applying for. You could have several slightly different versions of your CV. You can have that and get it saved um, somewhere. Now, I talk about your CV selling yourself. You sell yourself, your responsibilities expand upon your work responsibilities when you're doing your CV. Your responsibilities that you're doing, expand on it. If you have so much work responsibilities that you do, don't be lazy about putting it on your CV. Though you have to put relevant relevant stuff as well, but don't be lazy. Put it there. Don't put just one line when you know that you do the work of the whole universe. You can just put it together. You can summarize it and put it together. Expand upon your work responsibilities, your achievements. Be proud of your achievements. Put your achievement there. Sell yourself, put your achievements on your CV. I was able to, do this, able to do that. You know, I drove the company to profitability with my skills, with my this, with my that. Just put it there. Be proud of your achievements. Then add adjectives to describe your skills and competency. You should be able to, your CV should be convincing, you know, e.g., excellent, competent, and proficient, and confident, excellent and competent, add it. The adjectives that can describe your skills, add it there. Then it has to be measurable, add quantifiable items. Did you raise fund? Did you drive investment? Did you move were you able to meet your targets for marketing roles? Then how much you can state it, be specific, have a specific detail about what you do. For example, I was able to hit 120% of my target, 200% of my target every month, or something like that. So let your achievements be also measurable. Sell yourself. Then for your social media, now it depends on what you do. It depends on the job you're applying for. I've been emphasizing this. All these things we are putting, that's why we say always tailor your CV. All these things we are talking about. It is not like you now put everything on one particular CV. All these things we are talking about, there are some CVs that is not needed. There are some that is needed. That's why you have to really look into what the role you're applying for. Your social media, how many followers, especially um, for social media managers, maybe for content creators, social media managers role, you can put how many social media followers you're able to pull for and so, and all. Just add it. Then in your language, be professional, be confident, and be positive. Be professional in your choice of words, your choice of languages. Be professional, be confident. There is a way that when people are not even talking to you, from just seeing your CV, they know that this person is confident. This person is just is just bold, and is just confident. From your CV alone, from seeing your CV, somebody can know who you are, that you are confident, and as well be positive. So we're going to talk about things to avoid on your CV. We are rounding up things to avoid on your CV. We have instead, for the curriculum vitae at the top, instead add your name at the top. We know it's a CV. Don't put CV. Some people will put TV at the top of the curriculum vitae at the top of their CV. Before you write name, they will put curriculum vitae. They will not start before they now put their name and every other things. No, everybody knows that is a CV already. They say submit your CV. We know that it's a CV. You don't have to announce to us that it's a CV. So don't ever put curriculum vitae at the beginning, at the top of your CV? No. Then for your photo, it's not required, except it is being asked for, except it is being stated. Your photo is not required on your CV. Then there are some countries as well that is required. That is why I said you have to know the country you're applying to, the aside the company you're applying to, the role you're applying to, then the requirements of that role that you're applying to. You have to know it. It is not required except stated. Then you can have 30 seconds to impress, be concise. Waffling, don't just waffle. Don't waffle. Don't babble. Don't blab. So you can have 30 seconds to impress. You should be concise. Don't be too ambiguous with whatever it is that you are putting into your CV. Discrimination, information that does not promote equal opportunities, information that discriminates should not be added on your CV. Information about race, about gender, about religion, your nationality, no. If you are, if you add your nationality, if you add your age, if you add your gender, don't go and remove it. It's not needed. Now, you know that this thing can put you off. Like if you add your age on your CV, you don't need to add your age on your CV anymore. It's not needed. It's not required. If your age is needed, the question will be asked. You'll be asked and it will be supplied. Maybe at the point of the interview. It's not needed anymore. And the age can put you off as well. It can put you out. So don't add your age to your CV. Remove it if it is there already. Don't add your gender, don't add your nationality. It's not needed. Then also avoid spelling and grammatical errors. Avoid spelling and grammatical errors on your CV. Then don't do it in a rush. Don't put your CV together in a rush. Leave gaps. Don't leave gaps in your employment. I already explained that. Don't leave employment gaps. I'm sure we already get details about that. Don't have employment gaps in your CV. Don't lie. Don't lie, because if you lie, liars, there's a way that people lie, that by the time that somebody is going to ask you what you said, you'll not be able to put it exactly as you have said it. That is what liars, that is the quality of liars. You can never say the same thing twice, because you know that the first thing you said was a lie. So don't lie on your CV. It can put you out easily. Include irrelevant personal details such as marital status. Is not relevant. Don't include your marital status as well on your details. Nobody cares to know if you're married or not, except it is stated. There are some jobs that they will say, put your details in this manner. So if it is that, then you have to add it. Then also, don't simply write a list of duties under work experience. Remember, you are selling yourself. Like we said the other time, don't just write the list. Don't just list your duties. Blah, 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 blah. Make sure you do it in a creative manner. Do it in a sellable manner. So don't just write the list. And don't use flashy or large fonts. We spoke about that. Don't use flashy or large font, except for graphics designer CV. There are different CV for different purposes. For graphics designer, your own CV will state some things. Your own CV should make it known that, oh, you're a graphics person. You should be creative in your CV. But if you are not a graphics person and you're not applying for a graphics role, don't add too much colors. Don't let your CV to be too flashy, to the extent that it will now be too difficult to read. So there's no single way to write a CV. Note that it is your document and it can be structured and presented as you wish within a basic framework. It's your document. It can be presented as you wish, but in the right way. The important thing to remember is that this is the first impression. Remember, an employer will have of you. Where your legs will not get to, your CV will get there. Your CV is going ahead of you to talk about who you are, to market you, and marketing yourself in your CV. So remember very well that it's your first impression that is the first impression that an employer, a recruiter will have of you, and it is your marketing brochure through which you are trying to sell yourself. Remember that. So we have come to the end of the uh, session of CV optimizing, CV building and optimization. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for being attentive. Now, do we have any question? If you have any question, please, you can either unmute and ask your questions, or type it in the chat box. You can raise your hand as well. Questions, please. Hello? Are we together?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Does anyone have any question or any contribution? Okay. Oh, you call me Bolaji. Oh, you call me Bolaji, please. You can speak.
Thank you so much. Actually, I want to ask concerning the address. The number is 59 streets. We should, like what you say, we should like make compulsory that we should omit the number. Because I was told that because of security. Because you don't know anywhere else. Like,
Sorry, I didn't hear
also,
that. Can you please come again? Your network is
thank
breaking.
you.
Yes, I can hear you
Can
now.
you hear
I can
me?
hear you.
Okay, okay. My question is that I was told that in the CV, I'm sure to not write our full address. Like example, like the number of the streets. Let's say I reside in about Olon Shogo Street, Chile. Now we will make that 12 because of security. And this all will make that number. Is it professional or in professional?
You say, is it professional to omit the numbers, the house number?
The number.
Well,
Yes.
well, there's nothing bad in that. You know, most times, let me tell you the reason why address is needed on your CV. Most times, the address is needed so that by the time the employer is, maybe you have been shortlisted and fortunately you have been moved forward, you want to be employed. The same address you put on your CV is what will be on your offer letter. So that is why most times full address is needed. You know, but also it is not a cast in stone. The same way that employer can always get in touch with the applicants, the full details, full address can always be gotten. So you may not put all your details. You may not put all your details. Like for example, if you put number one, you put number one Festac Road, Lagos State. You know, number one Festac Road, Lagos State. I don't think there is how that will be known. There's how that will be traced easily. But again, try to put an address that is traced easily. That is why you don't have to be applying to just anywhere. You know, wherever you will send your CV also, I don't think there is a threat to life when you are sending your CV to legit, you know, recruiters. There's nothing they want to use, because recruiters want to use your address to do. Really, except you are just pushing your CV to anywhere, just any place. So if you know you are pushing your CV to, you are giving it to somebody that you don't trust, or you're just putting it anywhere, just for you to be able to get maybe random places, then you can just edit it and remove some sensitive information there. But if you know that you're using it for a legit recruiter, a verified job recruitment, then you don't need to fear anything. You can put it there because it is used also to address that address that you put on your letter. That's what will be that's the same address that will be put on your offer letter. So I don't know if you get me.
I got you.
Okay. All right.
I also, sorry, I have another one question concerning the reference. Like we should be putting like when someone put available on request, and someone makes a references like outside of occupation as a reference.
Yes, you can. There is personal reference, there's work reference. There's personal
Work
reference,
reference, personal
there is work reference. Yes, we have different reference. So, that's why I said the other time that references, you may not include it if you are not required to include it. But if you are required to include it, then it has to be a mix of it. You can't just put personal reference. If you have work experience, if you have had work experience in the past, it is expected that, of course, the work reference should be added, except you tarnished your image before, or you're not confident of yourself, probably because you have done something bad in your previous employment. Even if you put your work reference, that is also selling you that, oh, this person, for him to have put his work reference, his previous work reference, that means he has a good reputation. The reputation was not spoiled where it was coming from. So if you have previous experiences, of course, your work reference should be included in your references. That's if you're including your reference. It should be included. It should not be just your personal reference. You can include 2 work references, 1 personal reference, except you don't have any previous work experience. Is when you don't have any previous work experience that you should not include your work reference. But if you have previous work experience, then you should include your work reference. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. So Abisola Adebayo is asking a question on the chat. Okay, Modupe, please hold on. He's asking a question on the chat. He says, is it right to write in view on my CV when I haven't finished a course or an exam? Perfect. It is okay. So far, you know that that course is truly in view, not a course that you have stopped pursuing. You know, in your mind of minds, your church hearts, that you have stopped pursuing that course, and you now put in view and you now add it there, but you have stopped pursuing it. Maybe you stopped some times ago, then you should not add it. But if you know that it's a current course that you're doing, that you're pursuing, you should put in view. We spoke about it previously, that a course that you are pursuing, you can add it. The skills that you're acquiring at the moment, you can add it. An education that you are pursuing at the moment, you can add it and put in view. You can also put the date you intend to round off. The date that you intend to round off that education or that skills, you can put it there in view. The dates, add it there. So it's not bad to add it. I hope that's okay, Abisola. Okay, so we had somebody raising up a hand as well. Mojupe. Yeah, Mojupe Soti Mary, please unmute and ask a question.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Ma, yes, ma. About relevant trainings that you mentioned that we should only include our relevant trainings. What if I want to ask that? What if we don't have any relevant trainings? Like should we omit the space or what should we do, ma?
Okay. I don't think that you should be applying for a job that you don't have the relevant trainings. That's the first thing I would say. There should be a relevant training, even if, let me say, for skills now, there are a lot of free sites that you can acquire skill and trainings from. We have Coursera, we have Udemy, we have LinkedIn. LinkedIn also have free courses. We have I can't remember. There are quite a lot of them. So you should, even if you don't have the relevant training or relevant skill for that job, and you know that you actually convert that particular position, you can add it. And before you are being shortlisted, before you are being called for interview, go online or look for how you can acquire that skill or that training as well. Because if you don't add it, if you leave it empty, that will be a way of disqualifying you. You might be disqualified. Your CV will not be shortlisted. I spoke about ATS the other time. ATS is applicant tracking system. So that is what a lot of recruiters use now. because it takes extra effort and it's very, very stressful to start um, working on CV independently and manually. So it is that system, it is that applicant tracking system that is being used. So imagine the recruiter would have configured the recruiter would have configured the ATS to suit his or her need. So by the time you don't add the required training to your CV, automatically when the ATS is screening and they didn't get to see that you have the training, you'll be screened out. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are not being called for interview. You just see that you're just applying and applying and you're not being called. It is because you are not suiting your CV to the need of the recruiter. That is why most times I would say when you're applying for a job, read through the job order, the vacancies very well. Don't just rush to apply. Read through very well. When you see that they need so and so skills, add it to your CV. Even if you don't have that skill at the moment, I say don't lie on your CV. Yes, I know. But you can read up about the skill. You can try to quickly, learn about it. Go online. There's nothing you want to learn that you won't get online these days. So add it to your CV. Whatever you see on the vacancy, whatever you see on the job order, make sure that you add it to your CV so that even by the time the ATS is screening, at least you'll be screened in. So don't ever leave your relevant trainings, don't ever leave it empty, please. Don't leave it
All
empty.
right,
Make
ma.
sure you
Thank you,
add
ma.
it. Add some.
Yes,
You're
ma.
welcome.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. Please, Ma, can we get the slides? Okay. I will share the slides on the group. Are we all on the group? If you are not on the group, please let us know so that we'll drop the group link here. So do you have any other question so that we can round off already? Okay, I think we are good for the day. Okay. You call me Balaji. All right. Please ask a question.
My question is that concerning the soft skills, because when you are teaching us, I saw you should write the soft skills in details. Because I normally write my soft skills like communication skills, I'll just write like that.
Mm.
Problem solving, I'll just write like that. But you write it in details like I can. How can someone go about that one?
You should
Like
write
in
your
terms of
skill.
it,
Okay. There was an example. There was an example I cited on the in the slide. When he was talking about communication skill. When he was talking about communication skill, it's now talked about the effects, what that communication skill, what it has contributed to the current organization that he is, or that he was, or the previous organization. So it is okay to put in the the description of the skill. That is, if the skill itself doesn't describe itself. Like for example, now I have a problem solving skill. That is descriptive enough. Problem solving skill is descriptive enough, but you can go ahead and add more to it. Problem solving skill, then semicolon in the front. I was able to use this skill to solve so and so problem for my current, you know, employer. And we're able to come out of so and so issue with this skill. It's just an addition. Remember that I said that you're selling yourself. So if you are able to expatiate on it, why not? You can expatiate on it. Just briefly. It doesn't have to be something too much. You can expatiate on it just briefly. Though problem solving skill, it is enough to state what you can do. But again, when you are listing your skills, you might not put it in your skills, but you can put it under the work experience where you utilize that skill to solve the problem. Put it under the work experience where you utilize that skill to solve the problem, where it's counted. Put it there. When you are listing all your skills, you might not put it, just for it not to be lumped together. But by the time you are under the employee, under the work experience, where your achievements now, you can put it under it, that you're able to use your problem solving skill to solve so and so. So expatiate more on it. Expatiate more on it. So it's a plus for you. I hope you get that. Did you get that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I was not able to answer that. Okay. All right. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your attention. Please do make sure that you follow our pages on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. We usually share live job posts. I mean, direct from the recruiters, direct the um, from the HR that is recruiting for the role, direct from them. You know, there are other places you can search for job applications. We're going to have a training on that soonest too. We've had it before on how to search for job, where and when to search for job, and to where and how rather to look and search for jobs. But these ones, most of the jobs that we post, they are directly from the HR that is recruiting for them, you know. So try as much as possible to follow our Facebook, our Instagram, our LinkedIn pages, you know, for direct job posts and for other important information. You can also have a rewatch of this training on YouTube, on our YouTube page. It's going to be shared to us all. So, and don't forget to share the good news about Rivatus career. We are out to make sure that we improve everyone professionally, career-wise, you know. It's just a CSR that we do. It's just that for us. So thank you very much for attending this training. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you have been able to add up to one or two persons from this training. If that is so, please let's hear you before we say good night. Have you been able to contribute to you? Was this training worth it? Just a feedback. Was it worth it? Was it worth the
Yes,
time
yes,
you put
ma'am.
into it?
What?
All right. All right.
Yes, ma.
All right. Okay. Thank
Yes, ma.
you. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your feedback. All right. So we'll end this now. Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
You too, ma.